Right now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, breaking from overnight, a man is now in custody for a hit-and-run crash that killed a local deputy. What we're learning about the victim and how you can support her family.
Days after the funeral for Officer Dylan Vacoff, the man connected to the deadly shooting will appear in court. The charges expected to come down today.
Also developing this morning, Hurricane Fiona has battered Puerto Rico, leaving many without power or running water. We have a look at some rescues and the response FEMA is already planning.
And the public farewell to Queen Elizabeth II is now over. What the royal family plans to do next privately to honor her. Of course, mother, grandmother to 8 grandkids who were there yesterday. So, yeah. It was
mesmerizing to see all the tradition involved in the ceremony. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday morning. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Lisa Hidalgo taking a look outside this morning. A nice start to the day, Lisa. It should heat up a little later, though.
It's going to be pretty warm. Yeah, right now, though, you're seeing a little mix of sun and clouds for that early Tuesday morning drive. Today, though, our last day of some really big heat before fall settles in officially, and well, we're going to see it on the temps too. You're going to find temperatures today, though, still very summer-like, mid-80s by noon. Getting out the door this morning, it's mainly 50s and 60s. We're going to hit a high of about 90 degrees, though, here in Denver between 3 and 4 o'clock. Some near triple-digit heat to the southeast, 70s and 80s in the mountains this afternoon. Now, in the high country right now, we're starting to see, you'll notice there a few showers developing coming in from the southwest. We do have there in green quite a few counties under an aerial flood watch here over the next couple of days. So some areas of heavy rain, and we're going to see some of those showers here in town. I'll show you more of the timing of this and just how much cooler it's going to get, Jason, coming up.
And right now we do have a new crash in downtown Denver on that northbound side of I-25. Right there at before 6th Avenue. So let me show you on the camera where we're talking about. This is the northbound side, right before you get to 6th Avenue. They moved all the activity over to the right shoulder, so that's good news. So the lanes are finally open, but we're going to have police and we're going to have the activity over there to that right side. So the drive time coming up through there is going to be a couple extra minutes from Broadway on up to 6th Avenue. The rest of the drive is just running heavy stop-and-go traffic on I-25, I-76, and 270. The earlier problems pretty much cleared up and moved out of the way. Had that water main break over on Wadsworth near 40th. You have still lanes open, and there's actually another water main break down here to the south side of town along Dry Creek right at Detroit, right near University. It's mostly affecting Detroit Street, just south of Dry Creek.
Breaking overnight, a man is in custody now in connection with the death of a Weld County deputy.
Octavio Gonzalez Garcia was arrested around 10:15 last night in Fort Collins and returned to Greeley. Investigators say there's evidence he was drunk when he crashed into Deputy Alexis Hynute Sunday. She was riding her motorcycle to work and would have turned 25 this Sunday. She joined the sheriff's office back in 2018. The Weld County Sheriff's Office is now collecting donations to help her family with funeral costs. We have more details on Denver7.com. Well, just days after Arvada laid a police officer to rest, Dylan Vacoff, the suspected shooter in his death, will be in court today.
Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live with the charges the district attorney plans to announce today against Sonny Almanza.
Sonny Almanza was formally Monday. Today he will make his second court appearance here in Jefferson County. He is facing 11 charges in the September 11th shooting that killed Officer Dylan Vacoff and injured another Mercedes Lopez. Almanza was also shot during the exchange, but he was taken into custody after he was released from the hospital. His charges include first-degree murder of a peace officer and criminal attempt to commit murder in the first degree. We know the entire community has been mourning the loss of Officer Vacoff, and before our Arvada City Council meeting last night, Mayor Mark Williams took a moment to honor and remember Officer Vacoff, calling him a, quote, homegrown hero.
It particularly hard for us in Arvada because it was the second line of duty police officer death in 15 months. This reopened wounds for our police department, for our city team, for each of us on city council, and our entire community.
Almanza is being held at the Jefferson County Jail without bail, and during that court appearance today, he will be read all of those charges. We are live in Golden this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. We now know the names of the 3 people who were killed when 2 planes crashed into each other midair. This was in Boulder County over the weekend. The people who died were 22-year-old Daniel Wilmoth, 23-year-old Samuel Fisher, and 69-year-old Henry Butler. The NTSB is investigating what led to the collision near Longmont Saturday morning. It happened just minutes after the planes took off. Meanwhile, the FBI is looking for whoever called in a series of threats at schools across the state yesterday. East High School in Denver was one of them. Air Tracker 7 flew above as the building was evacuated and students flooded the parking lot yesterday. This came after someone called 911 claiming to be a teacher and said there was an active shooter. Well, that was not true. Police determined there was no real threat. But these swatting incidents, as they're called, also happened in Colorado Springs, Montrose, Delta, Cedar Ridge, and Alamosa. Investigators say the 911 calls all came in around the same time and were all from the same phone number.
Adams County investigators are trying to figure out why a high school student brought a gun to class. Police put Adams City High School on lockdown yesterday, but no threats were ever made. Turning our attention to Hurricane Fiona now, which has gained strength as it moves north after slamming Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. The now Category 2 storm is already blamed for at least 2 deaths. Sustained winds overnight were up to 100 miles per hour. Most of Puerto Rico has no power and 2/3 of the island has no running water. Here's ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
This morning, Hurricane Fiona is strengthening and is expected to turn into a major hurricane as it barrels towards Turks and Caicos. Fiona already causing widespread destruction in Puerto Rico, dumping up to 30 inches of rain. Along Puerto Rico's coast, the streets in many towns look more like canals, block after block of homes and businesses surrounded by water. The powerful winds knocking out power to nearly everyone on the island, many now doubting the government's claim that the power can be restored within days. So far, more than 1,000 people have had to be rescued. At least 1 person has died.
The water, she says that the water was running just like this, but inside of her house.
Ruben Ramos and his mother called 911 Monday. It took firefighters 7 hours to reach them.
What was it like when the firefighters arrived? ¿Cómo sintieron cuando los bomberos llegaron?
Oh,
Felicidad, que estamos a salvo.
Felicidad, you were happy, you were relieved.
Happy.
President Biden spoke to Puerto Rico's governor from Air Force One on his way back from Queen Elizabeth's funeral. The White House says Biden pledged support from FEMA, saying more than 300 federal personnel are already working to assist with response and recovery, and that number will increase substantially in the coming days. FEMA already has a large presence in Puerto Rico due to the island's ongoing recovery from Hurricane Maria, which made landfall exactly 5 years ago today. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
Meanwhile, in Mexico, 1 person has died after a powerful 7.6 earthquake hit off the southwest coast. There are reports of damage near the epicenter, which is in the state of Michoacan. And ironically, the earthquake happened less than an hour after a nationwide earthquake drill. It also happened on the same day earthquakes hit the country back in 1985 and in 2017. President Biden and the First Lady are back in the U.S. today after joining hundreds of heads of state and dignitaries at the funeral to honor Queen Elizabeth.
And now Britain's royal family will begin a week of private mourning. The Queen was laid to rest after a ceremony at Windsor Castle. Her imperial state crown, scepter, and orb were placed back on velvet pillows, signaling the end of her reign.
It's really sad that we have had a week as a nation to adjust to this.
British newspapers are reporting King Charles' coronation will likely take place next spring or summer.
Well, pre-market trading this morning is up slightly as the Federal Reserve begins its 2-day policy meetings. Regulators do expect an increase of interest rates to another 0.75% to help control still record high inflation.
A Denver museum is celebrating a window, a very special one though. Many history and design fans know Frank Lloyd Wright for the homes he designed, but he also designed furniture, lamps, dishes, and windows. The Kirkland Museum has acquired this particular window designed by Wright in 1901. It came from a home in Illinois. The window will be unveiled at the Kirkland Museum today.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, in Colorado at least, leaf peeping season. So we're making it easier for you to catch all the best fall colors in the high country.
And who wouldn't want to look like Russell Wilson's better half, Sierra? Her new skincare product and how it will support a good cause.